Comics and graphic novels are an integral part of modern popular culture. Aside from the movies and television shows based on them, the books themselves are gaining popularity, especially the digital versions. Readers across the world are engaged in an active conversation about this entirely visual medium. According to the Accessible Books Consortium, 10% of people in the developed world have some degree of print impairment. This includes blind, partially blind, colorblind, dyslexic, and other impaired readers. Mainstream comic publishers do not currently offer books that are accessible for blind readers, so many of these people are unable to be involved in this worldwide conversation. In order to bridge that gap between sighted and impaired readers, the comic and graphic novel industry should prioritize making their products available to those with print impairment in a way that provides both readers with a shared experience. As a visual medium, it's not often considered possible to design with this demographic in mind, but some organizations are attempting to do so with new and experimental methods and technologies. NODA and Comics Empower are two such organizations that provide descriptions of comics, and Graphic Audio produces sort of radio dramas for impaired readers. While these are good ideas, they're not often available to impaired readers until months or even years after the comics are released. Mainstream comic publishers such as Marvel, DC Comics, and Image should create born-accessible comic books to all readers in the same way and at the same time. One solution posited by Matthew Schifrin in his article Comic Book Access for the Blind on Den of Geek is to make the comic book scripts available to blind readers. As a blind reader, he has found this to be the best way to fully experience comic books. Let me show you what he means by this. This is a page from the controversial graphic novel The Killing Joke, which Schifrin mentions in his article. This is the script for the same page. As you can see, it shows the page and panel numbers, sets the scene, provides character descriptions, and then provides the dialogue for each character. It would not take long to code this for screen readers. Members of the impaired community want to be a part of the comic book community in a way that they have not yet been able to, and comic book scripts could be their way into this community. All of the major publishers release their comics in digital formats on the same day that they release their physical copies, every Wednesday. Readers with tablets, e-readers, desktops, or other mobile devices can access these digital copies. Their distribution system is already in place. For example, this is the Marvel Unlimited app for iPad. The app lets you scroll through books by swiping across the screen. It will even let you read frame by frame. All they need to do is set up their applications to also provide the scripts in a coded format in the background in a way that screen readers can present it to impaired readers. It can easily be set up as an option in the settings box. In this way, publishers can easily produce and distribute born-accessible comics. With this simple addition, they can give visually impaired readers a shared experience with sighted readers in several ways. Providing comics to both types of readers on the same day, avoiding segregation by making the comics available without resorting to third-party companies or potentially confusing alternative purchasing and downloading methods, and allowing both types of readers to have nearly identical experiences while reading the material in different ways according to their abilities. If comic publishers do not create born-accessible content for ethical reasons, then they should certainly consider doing so for the practical marketing reasons. At 10% of the population, this is a large demographic that is full of potential future consumers of their content and even their merchandise. While the movies and television shows based on these characters provide an opportunity for impaired people to become acquainted with the characters, it is a missed opportunity for the publishers to not make the comics on which they're based available to them. And if publishers do not create born-accessible content for either the ethical or the marketing reasons, then they ought to be held accountable to follow the legal requirements. Several pieces of legislation have been created to prevent discrimination and to enforce the ideas of the shared experience, such as the Americans with Disabilities Act and Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act. Since comic book publishers are neither federal nor state departments, few of these laws apply directly to this field. These laws, however, express the spirit of inclusion that publishers should be keen to follow. In a way, this is both a utilitarian issue and a communitarian issue. With respect to the marketing aspect, it is utilitarian. It benefits the company financially. Visually impaired people are othered in many ways in society. If one barrier that is so meaningful to so many people can be torn down, then the community as a whole is made better.